What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Project Ozone 2 Kappa Mode. Oh yeah, guys, so last episode we started setting up a little area here to make some cosmic meatballs. And we got everything being pretty much automated in this specific area that we need for that, except for the pile of neutrons or whatever, but we have that automated elsewhere. So yeah, this is working pretty well. I was just checking this out. This does emit a redstone signal when the meat drum becomes full of liquid meat. Yeah, this does in fact turn on. We are almost to the point now where we are completely stocked up on all of the meat ingots that we need. So that's really awesome. Yeah, once we get about five and three quarters more stacks of this stuff, yeah, everything will be full, and then this will shut off. Just, waiting for us to make cosmic meatballs in the future, or if we ever get hungry and want some meat ingots, but I don't think that's ever gonna happen. So yeah, that is working quite nice. I have right now our laser table area, this crazy amount of lasers, making a whole lot of these crystallized redstone. I have also added a recipe here for the dire crafting table, so we can auto craft those later should we choose to, if we need, a lot more than what we currently have. All right. So let's head back to the base and let's take a look at where we're at. Currently, we are in the process of trying to make the infinity catalyst. These things, our goal is to get to the wand of animation, but that requires like 45 of these infinity catalysts, I think is what we said was the number. And this is a crazy recipe. So once again, let's take a look at what we have so far for the recipe. These are basically everything that we have that we can make out of EMC, or our two other extreme crafting recipes for the cosmic meatballs and the ultimate stew. So our next item here that we need to make is the Endest Pearl. So we have to make one of those, and then it uses EMC thereafter. It does require 4 neutronium ingots, so I don't think I would want to craft each one of these individually. Yeah, I definitely want to EMC those. So over here, I set up the recipe for this specific item. There we go, Endest Pearl. All right. So here's what we're gonna do. We are going to take some nether stars, surprise, surprise, is what we've been doing. We're gonna make a whole lot of these Endest Pearls. Oh, quest complete. Okay, I guess there was a quest for that. Stick that there. Hey, look, we got 25 already. Let's put some nether stars in there and let's make a whole lot more, shall we? Will you guys just click in there? You won't do that? Okay, so I'll just shift click each one in there individually. All right, so it looks like, is that like a stack of pearls equals a stack of stars? I think it's something close to that. We're gonna need a lot more stars. Let me clear out the inventory a little bit better here. All right, I think that should be good. Let's grab a whole lot more nether stars. All right, because we want plenty of these things available. Clicky, clicky, clicky. All right, so there we go. That should be a decent amount. We might need more than this in the future. I'm not sure. But for right now, I think we're good. So we'll put those in our inventory, do like we do. Oh, my magnet's on. Can't do like we do. Let me turn the magnet off. Turn off. All right, get all of those out of my inventory. There we go. All right, put all those back in the system here, except for 1 stack, so we can put it into our crafting grid over here. Nice. Okay, so the next step, this is gonna be a little bit of Botania. Yeah, so we need Rune of Wrath and we need Rune of Gluttony. Both of these do not contain EMC, so every single one of these recipes we will do in the future, we have to make these. This is the perfect opportunity to automate this process, and I think that's what we're gonna be working on today. So we need a way to automate making mana diamonds. Well, I guess those are EMCable, so we might not automate that, but we could do that, right? So we need to automate Rune of Earth and Rune of Winter. So the Rune of Earth comes from mana powder, which that's another thing that's gonna have to be automated. Mana steel, some kind of stone, coal, and mushrooms. Okay, so that'll give us 2 of those. Looks like there is 2 recipes. Okay, so brown or red mushroom is the difference between those. Let's go back. And then Rune of Winter does require Rune of Water and Rune of Earth. So water is going to be fishing rod, sugarcane, bone meal, mana steel, mana powder, and that gives us 2. All right. We have to get cakes. Cakes are EMCable, so that might be how we do that. I expect we'll probably have to do something like that. It kind of feels like for all these recipes, we might want to set up another set of chests, another set of drawers, and get all those things hooked up so we can just have all of these things readily available. That might be a thing that we look at. But, you know, before we get to that stage, we might just set up all the applied energistics automations for this, because I would like to tell the system, hey, we craft 100 of these and just have it craft up, right? Provided we have the materials. We can provide the materials later. Okay, so Rune of Wrath is that. Rune of Gluttony is Rune of Fire plus Rune of Winter plus 2 mana diamonds. And we already looked at, I think, both of those. Maybe not the Rune of Fire. But yeah, pretty much everything in here is EMCable except for the mana powder, which is just like gunpowder, redstone, glowstone, something like that, through the mana pool here in order to make that stuff. But we can set up that pretty easily, I do think. Okay, so first step, we need to figure out where we're going to put our automation, how we're going to do this. The way that I like doing this is making sure our runic altar is in a place where we always want it to be, right? So we don't want to move it around. We're probably going to use the space underneath here for all of the automation process. You know, handling the items dropping into a portal and then warping the items up there, and then collecting the completed item and telling the recipe, hey, we're done, send the next set up there. You can't just dump all the items up there on the runic altar or it will not work. It has to have the exact amount of items, and then it has to have the living rock put on at the end, or at least that has to be on there. One of those in order to right click it to complete the recipe. So you can right click this, I do believe, with a dispenser with a wand in it. So yeah, we'll have to hook up a little bit of redstone and get a lot of this stuff going on. So just give me a few moments here. I'm going to start crafting up some of these things that we need, and we'll be right back. All right, guys, to get us started, we're just going to start at the very beginning. We want to be able to get applied energistics to give us items, and we want those items warped on top of this runic altar. So let's start right there. Okay, so underneath, I broke out the block below the runic altar so we know exactly where it is, because this is where we are going to put our portal. The items are going to be dropped right here. Not that it really matters that it has to be right there, but that's just where we're going to do it, because we have to choose a spot, right? Okay, so we'll do this, one of those, one of these, one of those, and then we need our dislocator receptacle right there. Okay, so that'll be our little 1x1 warpy spot. So I'll stand right on top of this altar. And then we have a charm of dislocation. Doesn't matter which way I'm facing, I can point down, I guess. Shift right click it. Okay, so anything that goes through this portal should be warped directly on top of there. We can right click that in there and we can try it ourselves. Perfect. Okay, so that works as expected. So we need to drop items into this portal. We have to have applied energistics to provide us those items. We need to drop them in there. Yeah, I think if I remember correctly, I've done this before in the past, and we've had problems if I put like the dropper directly above the portal. So we want to bring that up with one airspace. So let's grab some, I guess, quite clear glass. We will surround this in glass just to give us a little buffer. Maybe one higher. Like so, and then we can put our open crate right here. This should work just fine, right? So anything that goes in the open crate, like we pipe in items, that gets warped directly up there. I think that'll work just fine. It's a little bit bigger than I wanted, but you know, whatever. Okay, so now we need to provide this thing with items. So to do that, we are going to use a chest and some translocators. The translocators, we are going to put a glowstone here. So anything that goes in this chest should just go directly in here, stacks at a time, and we will turn that on. So no matter what we put in there, it should just go up there. So I put this block of quartz. If I turn off that magnet first, now we put in the block of quartz. They'll get warped directly up here and go right onto the altar, right? Pretty easy. I like it. Okay, so now that we got that taken care of, we need to make sure what we're providing this chest is exactly what we want to go up there. So we're gonna queue up, I don't know, 100 runes of wrath, right? Let's just say let's start earlier, runes of earth. We're gonna queue up 100 of those. Now, like I said before, if you put more than the exact recipe in there, it stops, it breaks. So we have to make sure we have one of each of the items that we want to go up there, and nothing else happens until that is completed. So the way we've done this in the past is we set up a pattern through applied energistics. Let's start setting up a pattern for Rune of Earth. Rune of Earth. Okay, so Rune of Earth, if we want to make one of those, we need a mana powder, mana steel, a stone, coal, and a mushroom. So let's set up each one of those. Mana powder, mana steel, mushroom, brown or red, I guess it doesn't really matter. I think we have those being generated already for our ultimate stews. We just have a bunch extras in the system. So what else was it? It was coal and stone, a block of coal, and a piece of stone. Stone, 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 right? Okay, so those are the ingredients that are going to go into this Rune of Earth, but we want to make sure that it stops when it's waiting for waiting for the craft to finish. So in order to do that, we're going to provide one extra item. What are we going to use? I don't know. We want something that's going to be in our system all the time and we're never going to have to worry about it. I would use nether stars, but we might be at a point in the future where we're going to run out of those. So maybe Magnesio. I don't think Magnesio is used in any recipe, so I'll use a Magnesio here. I've used slime balls in the past. You can use whatever you like, just as long as it's an item that you know for sure you're always going to have in your system. We can do well, probably not ender pearls. That might be used in a recipe. Probably some kind of a modded item from something besides Botania is what you want to use. So Magnesio it will be. Okay, so all of this is going to make ourselves 2 runes of earth. So again, you can click and then drag and then place the item here. These items don't exist. Like I can't place those in my inventory. All right, so we will right click this all the way till it says we're gonna get 2 of those. Alternatively, we could just craft it up, get 2 items, and then place it here, but we're doing it with the ghost items from NEI. All right, so there is our pattern for Rune of Earth. All right, so now that we know that we are going to be using Magnesio, we can filter those out and make sure that doesn't go into this chest. All right, so we need to do some work here. So we need another chest here. And we need to pull everything out of here except for Magnesio. I don't remember. Can you do that with the translocators? Or are we gonna have to use item conduit? I can't remember. We could also do the other, what's the other one from extra utilities? Transfer node? Maybe a transfer node would be better. It's like really fast. Transfer node would work pretty good. Then we could do stack upgrade. Grab one of those. Maybe a stack of speed upgrade. Something like that should work just fine. This is probably going to be overkill, but this should work. All right, so we're going to pull out of there with this, and then we need a filter. We have a few filters in here, but I don't remember what these were all from. I should probably just make a new filter. Let's make a new filter. Item filter. We'll make one of those. We need some sticks. All right, so there's some sticks, and then I believe we have to put this with our redstone torch to make it an inverted filter. So we want everything but whatever item is on that filter. So redstone torch. So turn this off. One of those, just one. All right, so now it's an inverted filter. So no matter what goes through here, as long as it won't be a Magnesio, that's what we want. So let's put 1 Magnesio in that filter. I don't know if that has to be the first one. Do we have to do that? I don't know. I don't know if that really matters. So if we put Magnesio in here, nothing should happen. If we put an ME dense cable, that should go through and get warped up. Okay, so that's the way we want that. Now that we have Magnesio in there, we need a way to pull that Magnesio out a little bit later. But what this Magnesio is going to do on these ME interfaces, let's put it right here. On these ME interfaces, there is this button right here, which nobody ever uses, but this is called the blocking mode. It says ignore the contents of the target inventory, or you can click it. It says do not push crafting items if the inventory contains items. So what this will do is if this chest is empty, it will push in a full recipe. Since Magnesio is not part of the recipe and we're blocking it, we're filtering everything but that. It's always going to stay in here until that recipe completes. When the recipe completes, we need a way to pull this out to allow the next recipe in. So that's where that extra piece of Minicio is coming from. Okay, so we have this set up. This is going to contain this pattern here. So we need to now hook this up to applied energistics, so we can take this Minicio out. Let's get this hooked up. I guess right here should be fine. I don't know how much. I ran the wire all the way down there, but I didn't know where we were going to have this thing hooked up at the time. So we'll do that. We'll put one of these ME-dense cables so we can see how many channels we have remaining, although I don't expect we'll be using a whole lot of channels right here. So we can do that, and then we can just connect this up like so. I also need to grab my memory card here and actually bring the channels over to that area. So this one has never been used, so we'll shift right click on there to copy the settings, and we will right click it right there along the P2P line right here to bring the channels right here. So it says there is now one channel being used, so this thing should be hooked up. So if we go into here, we should say Rune of Earth. Maybe it takes a minute. Maybe the P2P is connected, but it takes a minute for that pattern to show up. There it is. Okay, so now if I tell the system to craft one of these, all the ingredients for a Rune of Earth should appear here, except for our oh, you know what? Let's fix this right now. Yeah, everything should appear there except for this stone, which we also need to be warped up there. So let's go fix this recipe real quick so it includes a living rock. Oh, we don't have any living rock. Okay, well that's going to be another problem. All right, so stone, let's grab some smooth stone here. We will place it around our pure daisy that is sitting on this grass, the enchanted soil there, which you make with overgrowth seed. I think it has to be grass first, and then you click the overgrowth seed on there. Anyway, that makes it so this only takes 30 seconds instead of the full minute. We'll have to set up some kind of an automation to make this stuff in the future, but that's pretty easy. This is the harder part, so this is what I want to work on right now. So as soon as we get one piece of living rock here, well, hopefully more than one actually, we can set our pattern, and then we can test this out. And I'll just vein mine that. Okay. All right, so let's fix our pattern here. We'll put one piece of living rock at the end as well. We'll put those back in the system. We'll re-encode this pattern, so it requires that. All right. And down here, we can place this. Right, so everything should be set up. The only thing is we have to right-click this when it's done, and then it has no way of completing it because we don't have a way to collect that item and put it back in there, but we'll work on that next. Okay, so I need my wand of the forest, and then we can tell the system to make a Rune of Earth. Next, start. So everything gets warped up here. It's completed. We're using the Elven Mana Spreader. We have the potency and velocity lens on there. So this tier 1 craft happens really fast. So now we just need to right click that and that's done. Perfect. Okay, so now if we come back down here, we should see there's a Minicio essence, right? That's what we should see. We do need to get this thing so it's completed. So that's going to be the next step. That's a little bit more tricky. It's going to involve some redstone, some comparators and things like that. I'll do that off camera and then I'll walk you through what I've done. So let me get to that and we'll be right back, guys. All right, guys, so the next part of this automation process requires us to detect when the crafting is done so we can send a redstone signal to click it with a wrench, right? So the way these runic altars work, by default, they emit a redstone signal of 0 with a comparator, right? When it is in the process of crafting, it emits a redstone signal of 1. And when it's done crafting, ready to be right-clicked, it emits a redstone signal of 2. So the way this is set up is underneath we have a comparator. Yep, we have it, the one from Project Red integration. We have it so the in is pointed at the runic altar and the out is pointed at this block right here. We could do this above ground here so we could see everything, but I like keep this thing hidden anyway. So we have it here. So we are doing the in to the runic altar, out to this block. And then from this block, I have another comparator here, which is basically just like a repeater kind of a signal. Anyway, so here we are also getting signal strength of 2, so that's what this has. Next to this, we have a potentiometer from Draconic Evolution, right? So we've used this, I think, in the last episode, or anyway, one very recently for the meat ingot. I think that was last episode. You can right-click on this thing or shift-right-click it to change the redstone signal strength this is emitting. This is set to number 2. So when this thing gets a strength of 2, it'll emit a redstone signal, which will light up this conduit, which will click our dispenser. So with the Project Red integration things, by default, it seems like the comparator's in the wrong way. Yeah. So you can sit here and flip it around by right-clicking with a screwdriver. And you can hear right there that that works. If I were to set this to, let's right-click it up to 3. And you can see this turns off. Since we don't have a strength of 3, yeah, nothing's happening, but we have a strength of 2, and that's what we're looking for. And that does click our dispenser. So everything for this should be basically complete. So we want some facade to cover up this stuff because we're not going to have holes in our floor, right? Every time you update that cable, though, it does appear that it clicks a dispenser, but that's not really that big of an issue. And then we're going to want some more quartz, where we're not having the facades. There we go. Yeah, every time like one of those gets an update, it sends another redstone pulse. I don't know why it does that, but anyway, we won't be updating that at all, so it shouldn't matter. So there we go. There is our automated way of clicking that dispenser, which will contain a wand when we're all said and done. It won't be my wand. Well, I'll just make another one. It'll contain a wand, which should right-click this with the living rock on top of there, which should complete the recipe. So the next part of this is item collection. Okay, so we're gonna use an advanced item collector. I like these things a lot for this purpose. This can go onto a chest, and these things can be filtered. So if we look for filter, once again, we have filters for different things, entity filters, block filters. We're looking for the item filter. Okay, item filter, we can, I think it's shift right click. Yep, and then you can have a list of different items you want filtered. So for right now, let's grab our Rune of Earth. As we add new recipes, we will have to adjust this filter. All right, so Rune of Earth. Right, so now we need to get an item. All right, I guess we need to get a chest to collect that item. Where do we want to put a chest to do that? We can put it like right here, I guess. That should be fine. Let's grab another chest. There we go. So a chest here, item collector here, filter right there. Now that is, let's see, that is 1, 2, 3, 4 blocks above it. So we'll do the Y of 4. And then what radius is this? This is along the Z axis. We want the Z to be 4. You know, let's just do 4 by 4 by 4. I think that'll be fine. We're only going to be collecting the Rune of Earth because that's the only thing that we have specified up there, right? Okay, so if I were to drop this somewhere except for on top of the runic altar, that should get collected. Yeah, that should be just fine, I do believe. And that should be right here. Okay, so now we have a way to get items into this chest that we have completed. We need to get a redstone signal that says, hey, I collected an item. Let's finish up this recipe. So to do that, we can do a comparator. I don't know which one I want to use. Maybe this one. So I can point it down. Can I do it right here? Oh, I can. Okay, good. Pulse former. So we want the positive side facing the chest. Yep. And then that should be emitting a redstone signal, I do believe, of 1 redstone. It's hard to type with one hand sometimes. That is not doing anything. Does that not emit a redstone signal? Oh, I have this thing in, out. Yeah, I have this thing wrong. In, there it is. Okay, so the in is facing the chest, out is facing the ground, emitting a redstone signal strength of 1. That's all we need, is just some kind of redstone signal strength that says, hey, our chest got something. That is going to be the signal that is going to tell this setup here to pull this Magnesio essence out of this chest and over here, right? Okay, so now it's a little bit more redstone complication. So the way this is going to work, we get the redstone signal. It is going to, Yeah, we'll put the redstone on this item translocator. I put a diamond nugget on there to regulate this. Let me grab this stuff and I'll show you guys again. So you put a diamond nugget on there, right? You can right click on it and now it says regulate. You can put up to a stack of Minicio or whatever items, like you want that. So you want to filter on, you know, a whole bunch of these. So always keep 121 of those facades in their stock. You can do that, but we just want one Minicio. So the way this is going to work is going to pull the one Minicio. We only want one in here. The next recipe is going to go into this chest, which is going to leave a Minicio. So we want to make sure it's only going to pull the one and not pull the first one and then the second one from that recipe, right? Yeah, because that'll screw things up. So we want to regulate so there's only one. Then we want to wait, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 seconds. After that redstone signal is turned off, we know that there's one in here. We want to wait 3, 4, 5 seconds and then pull the item from here and put it into our ME interface to complete that recipe, right? So that's the way that's going to work. So it all starts from this redstone. I need to get the timings right to turn this on, wait 5 seconds or whatever it is, and then emit a redstone signal to here to pull out of this mini chest and then into the interface to complete it. So let me get that redstone stuff figured out and we'll be right back. All right, guys, so I've been working on this for a little while and I think we got everything all set up. I did make a few changes here and I've added some things, so let's kind of go over those real quick. So previously we had the advanced item collector on a chest and we were just pulling the redstone signal directly off this chest. Well, that kind of works, but what we want to do is have the items removed from this chest and create a redstone signal. So I was thinking we would just put the item conduit directly on here, but then I was like, what happens if we pull the item out of the chest before the redstone signal goes off? It's just not good. So the way this is now set up, advanced item collector with a filter in there on a chest with a hopper below it. The hopper takes an item and then it puts an item into another inventory, right? But it has enough time where we can get a redstone signal off of that. Yeah, so then we can continue on what we're doing here. So it's gonna work just the same. Item collector is pulling the items into the chest and then whatever item goes in here gets pulled up by the hopper. And then the the comparator down here, it detects that that's happening and then it emits a pulse, right? So we have a pulse former here. So no matter how long this comparator is on for, as long as it's a solid on signal, we will pulse one time. Okay, so we got that redstone pulse from the item going through the hopper. We are turning that into a repeater signal of 4 ticks in length. And that is coming up here and emitting a redstone signal to our translocators, which does have the redstone on. So when it gets a redstone signal, this turns on and it only allows one Minicio essence into this mini chest. Next to this, I put an omnidirectional hopper with a redstone signal. It'll only work if it does not have a redstone signal. So both the omnidirectional hopper and these item translocators are getting a redstone signal at the same time. So it'll pull the item out and put it into the chest, but the omnidirectional hopper is then turned off. When the redstone signal goes away, this item translocator stops pulling items and the omnidirectional hopper turns on, pulling the item out of the mini chest into itself. Okay, and then from here, we just have an item conduit that's set to always active and then pulling the item into the interface to complete the recipe. So we can kind of see this happen here with this lever. If I click it, you can see this translocator turns into an innie, right? Let me back up a little bit so we can see this a few times. So yeah, that redstone signal is turning that lever on and off like that, right? Okay, so if we put, yeah, let's put like, I don't know, 3 Minicio in here. All right, so we turn this on. It's regulated to only pull out 1 Minicio. So all we'll ever have in here is just 1. This is not doing anything. So as soon as I turn that lever off, that Minicio is going to go in here and be extracted by the conduit. We probably won't be able to see that, or maybe we will. There it is. So now it's gone, right? So there's 2 Minicio left in here, nothing in here, nothing in here. So we can flip this lever again, do a quick flip. There'll be 1 left right here. Nothing in this one, nothing in this one, and it's all gone. So that's going to take care of the blocking mode for this whole thing. It all starts once again from detecting an item going through this hopper, which kicks off the redstone signal, which pulls 1 Minicio out of the chest. Yeah, I think that is going to be exactly what we need. There might be a way to compact this down a little bit more, but I think this is going to work. Now, I haven't tried this in large scale. Like, I tried crafting 2 sets of the Rune of Earth at a time. Let's try going a little bit more. How many of the living rock do we have? 27? All right, so let's do, I don't know, 10 Rune of Earth. I believe this should work, provided we have all the things in the system. Yeah, it looks like we have everything in here. So let's start this up. Is my magnet off? Yeah, very important. Make sure magnet's off when you're doing this. Okay, Rune of Earth. Let's do 10 of these. Oh, you know what? I didn't click go. Dang it. Rune of Earth. 10. Next. Start. Okay, so there's one. Gets the redstone signal once done and clicks it. And there's the next one. That one's done. Yep, so this seems to be working correctly. I think that is pretty good. I don't know why that mushroom's got a weird texture on it, but that's kind of weird. And that should be the last one that it's going to do. What we want to do is make sure that when we look down there that there is no Minicio left in this chest. That's the important thing. That's gone. There's nothing in this one. That's gone. Okay, so this is ready to go for the next craft. So what we need to do, like I said before, we need to add in more recipes here for the different things we want to auto craft. And once we have an auto craft pattern set up for that, we need to make sure that we adjust the item filter here to collect those things. If we need more space for here, we can put another item collector on any face of this chest. Yeah, we have what, 4 additional faces remaining. We could put 4 more filters in each one of those. Yep. And if we need more interfaces here, we can also attach one to this side or that side down there. Yeah, so we have a spot for an additional 18 more recipes. I don't know if we're ever going to go that crazy, but, you know, this is one of those things that needs to be done. This is great. So the only other portion of this that we have yet to do is to automatically create mana. Yep. That'll be something that we'll do for another time. I did set back up our autonomous activators over here that we set up long time ago to open up these loot bags. I have them currently extracting all these things. We're trying to get some more of the black or lotus and black lotus. Both of those are how we are currently getting mana. So we want to make sure we have a large stockpile of these. We're down to about 800, I think. So now we're up to 2,300. That's a lot. I also have this going, which is converting all of our different loot bags into the legendary ones, which I think have the highest chance of getting the black or lotus. So yeah, that is all set up over here. Cool. All right, well, we got a lot of good stuff done today. I know it was all Botania, but it was more technical stuff for Botania to get this automated. We definitely want this automated because, oh my goodness, can you imagine trying to craft, you know, like 100 of these different runes by hand? Not gonna happen. Not for the things that we need to do in this mod pack. But anyway, guys, that's gonna do it for today. Thank you guys for watching. Remember to leave a like on the episode if you liked it, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye-bye.